Welcome everyone to Straight Talk TV, the show that cares about you. And here's our host, Tony Brown.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. And I just want to thank all the viewers and welcome you to Straight Talk TV. And we say here at Straight Talk, it is the show that cares about you, where the information comes from, you, the people. Please stand in your hearts and your minds for the Black National Anthem.
Yes.
Is one. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought. Facing the rising sun, on the day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Let us march on till victory is won. Is won. Is won.
Oh my goodness. Go ahead.
We are going to have some people bringing some information to you. It's tax season, right? For you business owners, for you private people, you need to have some information. And we have a young lady out of Philadelphia. Parris-Olday from Temple University is going to be sharing some information, and it's going to be a consistent show, but you want to get it today, and then she's going to be coming back monthly to keep us educated on our finances as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Parris-Olday.
Thank you very much. I am totally honored and appreciative of being able to share some information. We know that this is a time of year that everybody goes, yeah, I'm gonna get a whole lot of money back, or oh my God, it's tax time already.
Yeah.
But we want you to understand that it's just the thing that helps us keep running water. You know, when people go, I don't want to pay taxes. Well, I just think about every time you go to the ladies' room or the men's room and you flush, understand paying that water bill helps us do that. And we don't have to go to the river and empty out our bucket. So it's
taxes.
Yes, please pay the taxes. So, because we also don't want to find a pig yard to put the garbage in, we are very happy for the trash men, even if they don't always work in everybody's city all the time. But we are happy when they come and pick up the trash and we don't have to do it, or the garbage and we don't have to do it. So our taxes are important, even people don't think so. And to young people, it's how you pay your Social Security. It's how you pay your Medicare. It's how, when you live long enough, because we know when they're in their 20s, they think everything is going to be forever. And then they hit 30, and then before they know it, they're 61, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're going, oh, I should have. Well, the whole purpose of having a wonderful job is so that you can pay Social Security and Medicare. Those are two of the important taxes that come out of your wages, just so you'll be able to have some money and live as comfortably as you were when you were young, because that's important. I always say, how about if you live to be 65? Okay, if you live 62, 65, 70, if you live that long, you want to be as comfortable as you can be. And planning is an important part of becoming more mature, as I call it.
Now,
So paying your taxes is important.
Professor O'Day, if you will, share a little bit about who Professor O'Day is and what she does. Because that kind of give our viewing audience a little information about you and what type of services you have and why you do what you do.
Okay, so I apologize. My name is Alletta Parris-Olday. I am from Philadelphia, born and raised. And by the way, the Eagles just won, so we're going to the Super Bowl. What? So, I mean, I would be remiss as a Philadelphian if I didn't say that, right? However, I have a master's in business administration and public administration, but it occurred to me as a business owner, I've been in business 35 years, that people don't understand how taxes really work, number one, and two, as a business owner, how imperative it is for us not to be audited. So part of it was because if we want to create generational wealth, we want to create a legacy, we want to have something to pass on to future generations, we have to understand how this foundation works. So when you have a solid foundation, you can go nowhere but up. And so my whole philosophy is, how do we get up? We learn how to do it by being compliant and having our taxes done and making sure the quality assurance of our lives, whether you are an individual or a business, is such that we can plan for the future, live for today, and learn from the past. So that's primarily my goal and reason for why I do what I do. And I also like it. So it does help when you like what you do.
Absolutely. It's not a job then. They say if you like what you're doing, it's not a job. You touched on something about preparation. What should a person do? I want to talk about nonprofits and LLCs, but right now I want to speak to individual people. What should they have prepared to make their tax preparer, their CPA, or their accountant job much easier for them?
I think your tax preparer, your CPA, and your enrolled agent should make your job much easier. When you finish at the end of each year, they should be preparing you for the next year. So a lot of people don't realize that in 2018, when number 45 was in office, they said, we want more money. So they gave you more money in your payments that you get once a month, twice a month, or however you get paid, but they lowered the wage tax to 8%. So when they lowered the wage tax, they say, okay, you have more money. You're going to, one, get less of a tax refund, or you may possibly owe. So why are we not having that conversation with our individuals? They've changed now from 2019, 2021, we got all the money in the world. We think that's going to happen. It will not happen this year. We have reverted back to 2018. The child tax credit will no longer be refundable. Well, it always reduced your tax liability as individuals. And then the additional child tax credit was what was refundable. But the last 2 years, they made everything refundable. Refundable means I get it back. You will give it back to me in money. That won't happen this year. So people should not expect to get anything near what they received in the last 2 or 3 years. That's number one. Number two, daycare expenses were refundable in the last 2 years. Now it just reduces your tax liability. So it just means that I'll pay less on the taxes that I would owe. But before I do that, I think the other thing that I want to touch on is people don't understand how we get refunds or how that tax structure is. When you get hired at a job, they give you a gross salary or a wages, right? So say the wages are $50,000. That's just easy for me to do easy math. At 10%, they'll take $5,000 in taxes out over a year, right? So from 50,000, they're going to deduct what they call the standard deduction. And the standard deduction is simply thank you. The government thanks you for having a job. So they have it for single, married, filing joint, married, filing separate, head of household, qualified widow or widower. So Based on those filing statuses, they will give you a deduction. For if you're single, it's 12,900, 18,000, almost 19,000. If you had a household, about 26,000, depending. Now this is give or take, because sometimes it could be a little more. And so when you're looking at that, if you subtract the 50,000 from the standard deduction, that's what you actually pay taxes on. So let's say it's 50 minus 12, what's that, 42, 42, 52, no, 38. So the $38,000 is what you actually really made, and taxes on $38,000 would be $3,800. So the $3,800 minus the $5,000, that's how you get a refund. That's just basic. That doesn't have anything to do with earned income credit, child tax credit, dependent care. This is just simple, basic math that we as a people need to understand. How do I get a refund back in the first place? So when you look at your W-2 and you made $10,000 and you only took out 100, you're already at 1%. So you didn't take enough, you're going to owe. These are the conversations your tax pro, your enrolled agent, your CPA need to be having with you. If you have multiple jobs, it's how you fill out that W-4 that your company decides, oh, you saying you claiming 8 people, there's no more exemptions, so people don't understand that. So when you say I got 8 people, they take no tax. And then you want to know why I'm not getting a refund. So there's things that, this is just basic tax information that everybody should know, but they don't know. And they should understand, because guess what? At the end of the day, it's your money. And you need to understand your money.
We are so thankful and grateful that you are here to start educating, informing us. Because I used education one time on one of the show, and somebody said, you can't educate me, so inform, inform them. And because the information is so vital. And just the little few numbers that you quoted to us in the example, I'm like, okay, that is simple. If we don't know, we don't know. And if people don't know, then they're looking for a refund and they're wondering why they didn't get the refund, because they didn't file right. That's what I'm hearing you share with us?
Correct. And not only, it's not necessarily that you don't file right. A lot of times you don't know what questions to ask, because when you don't know, you really just don't know. So if you don't know what questions to ask, the conversation between your tax professional, CPA, should be, hey, do you have children under 17? Because if they're not under 17, now you don't qualify for these things. Your child is 15 or 16 this year. Next year, you won't get the earned income credit for one child. It's like if you have 5 or 6 kids, somebody said you can only claim 3. No, you had all 6. Stop trying to sell your kids and be fraudulent. Claim all 6 of your children. They're your children. You hurt yourself when you think it's only 3. It's not 3. There's 3 for some things and 6 for, and all of them for the rest. So that's the conversation. And I'm not going to say it's just people, because people can only be informed if you have someone who's willing to inform you and not just do it. Now, this is the difference between you don't want to spend the cost of a professional to do it, although they're going to give you tax law. You want your girlfriend or somebody else, you want to try to do it on yourself. What is the basic difference? I know tax law and you don't. I know what credits and things you're eligible for and you don't. All you know is earned income credit and possibly a little bit about child tax credit. So just FYI, for this year, you make more than $16,000, you're not eligible for earned income credit. So those are the kind of conversations at the end of tax season or whenever you're getting your taxes done, that person should be having with that individual. So that's a lot for it. But hopefully someone will hear something and ask the questions, because sometimes you have tax pros that don't talk to you. So you need to be asking them some information like, how did I get this? And why didn't I get this? So if they're not informing you, ask why and let them explain to you why. So that's on the individual side.
Now you mentioned something, if someone makes over $16,000,
Yes.
they're not,
That's the eligibility requirement in order to get earned income credit. So say for instance, you made 25,000 and you got, or 28,000 and you did the 12,900 if you were single, you made over the 16,000, because the other myth is, oh, I can't get earned income credit if I'm single. You most certainly can. You can't get earned income credit if you're married. You most certainly can. There's an earned income chart. If you go to irs.gov, I tell people my mouth's not a prayer book, but I can tell you where you can go find anything. If you go to irs.gov, it will have the earned income chart, and it will have the child tax credit chart, and it will tell you married, head of household, single. So they're just things that your friends tell you. But again, if they're not a professional, are they really telling you the truth? So, but my friend said, but is your friend a tax professional? So we're worth our money.
right, exactly. Now, when someone comes to you, what are some of the basic things, outside of all the paperwork, the basic things they should have when they come to you to help you prepare their taxes or assist them?
So if you're an individual, you always want to have Social Security cards, photo IDs, or birth certificates if it's a newborn. In the state of Pennsylvania, if a child is newborn, like someone was born last year, for the state of Pennsylvania, we have to upload birth certificate, Social Security, so that the state realizes that, well, they match records, because everybody's, the federal and the state and the city, they all are collaborating now with all this wonderful technology. Then you want to know, do you have W-2s? Do you have 1099s? And there's multiple kinds of 1099s. So do you have if you are Uber driver, do you have, or a Lyft driver, if you got a 1099, we want the paperwork that goes with that. Now the government is requiring that. So if you do, what is the cart, any of those driving things, they want the paperwork that goes with it, because that helps determine your real mileage. It helps so you don't get audited, because they will audit you in a heartbeat if they think, oh, I use 52,000 miles. And you may have, because maybe you did Uber, Lyft, and Instacart. So you need to be able to verify those things. If you have daycare expenses, we need the EIN number and all that the daycare should be giving you. And if you have a parent or grandparent, they need to be willing to give up their Social Security number if you're paying them. Other than that, you're just giving away money. So in order to get the maximum refund, we need all of the information so that we can get all of the credits and deductions you're eligible for to get the maximum refund.
And something you touched on, in most families, when moms or dad or both parents are working, big mama or mom, big mama or grandma is taking care of the child. And you mentioned that they should be able to, what is the process there? Because they might be paying them $100 a week or whatever the price might be, but that's money that they could be getting back on their taxes.
It's credit that they could get. However, what happens normally is somebody say, I don't want them messing up my income, so don't report it. So if you just have money to give away, just give it away. It doesn't matter that it's the mother, the grandmother, whatever. You cannot claim it if they're not willing to say, yes, she gave me $100 a week. Because who is watching the baby? Who are watching them? So is there an after school program? If there's an after school program that you're paying a couple of dollars for, or if you have CCIS, most places have that, you still pay a little bit, but they have all the information. You need to have that information in order to maximize your refund. But you know, all of that's a personal choice. That's what I tell people. I can't tell you, no, you don't have to report it, because that's unethical, number one, and it goes against federal law, and I can't do that. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you what the government says, And then that's my responsibility, my role and responsibility. So then people do what they want.
You just here to help them provide the information and make sure they do this right and get back what is basically they have coming back from them to them and their families. I want to just touch, and for our viewing audience, Professor O'Day is going to be blessing us each week, and she's going to have this kind of structure, so to speak. So you're going to be able to ask questions, but she's going to have kind of laid out an outline, I guess, of the various information and classes that she's going to be providing. So you're going to be able to tune in and have your questions answered from someone. And then if you need to get with her outside of the time she has on with sharing with us, then you'll get her information. You can call her, and then you can pursue more information, and she can talk to you about that. But I want to talk about nonprofits, because a lot of people are doing the nonprofits now. They're doing the LLCs. What should they be doing at this point? It's tax season.
Let's talk about compliance first.
Okay.
People want to have a nonprofit. They want to give back because they have a passion for starting something. But please understand, you don't own a nonprofit. No one owns a nonprofit. You will be the founder of your nonprofit, but you won't own it. The other part of talking about nonprofits is you really need a board. See, people do nonprofits because they think, oh, we can go get a grant, we can do this. It's not as easy or cut as dried as that. You do need a board. We do realize that you just need the president, the secretary, and the treasurer to apply, but that doesn't run your company. It just, and it is a company. So you have to act, your nonprofit has to act like a regular company. The only difference is a nonprofit is allowed to get money, because people think you can't make money, but you can. Think of all schools, University of Penn. Most universities are nonprofit. They have to be able to make money or they wouldn't be able to pay the staff and they wouldn't be able to do what they're doing. So you're allowed to make money. It's just that the money that you have is always reinvested into the organization. So there's 3 types of 990s that you would do. And if you don't do them, they will revoke your nonprofit. Once they revoke your nonprofit, then you will be paying them the big bucks to get it back reinstated. And that is you don't want that to happen. So the worst case scenario is do the 990 postcard. The 990 postcard is really good for people who are just starting their nonprofits and they're trying to get the first year or two, you're trying to get a foothold, make sure you're building your board, make sure they're active. And then it's just the requirement, you're compliant. The thing about just doing a postcard is that there are actually people who sit down and look for how I can give people money. So the 990 EZ is for folks who make under 50,000, but volunteers are equivalent to income. So when you do that, there's what's called a Schedule O, and the Schedule O gives them a snapshot of the things you've done, the things you want to do, and what your mission, vision, and purpose is, so that when they're looking to see who is someone that the company or corporation wants to donate to, they have the information and they can reach out. And the other one, of course, is after you make 50,000, you have to do just a straight 990. And people think they can just, I can just do this, but the language is important. So you really, again, need someone who does, and ask, my tax pro does this. Okay, but do you know if they can actually do nonprofit returns? Because it's more than a notion. And that leads me to small businesses. Record keeping, and record keeping, and bookkeeping and record keeping. Is the downfall of all micro and small businesses. You have to do it. And if you're not going to do it, what do I say? Outsource it to somebody, because most LLCs, most partnerships, most S Corps, usually if you're a C Corps, you have a staff of accountants that do that. But You got to pay quarterly taxes. That's the law. When people say to you, well, I'm going to pay it at the end. Yeah, but that's not what the federal government said. It said you're supposed to pay every quarter. Well, I didn't make any money, and I've had my EIN number for like 4 years. Okay, failure to file, they can get you for. They can get you for penalties for not filing. The government doesn't care that you don't have a dime. They don't really. They just need you to be compliant. So when you talk about being compliant, when you decide I'm going to get an LLC and be in business, just know now I am betrothed to the government. I have just made a marriage. And so you have to form your commitment, because the divorce proceedings from the government is you will be paying these fines and penalties. And who wants to do that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, you touched on the nonprofits a little bit, and you touched on the LLCs, and you also share with the people the information they really need to have when they come and see a tax preparer, someone like you. Or sometimes people have a little problem. I said problem, but sometimes people keeping the records, you know, keeping the receipts for the gas, or keeping the receipts for taking the little one out to eat, or buying some clothes for the young at heart, or their favorite person. What would you suggest an easy way for people to keep those receipts and that information?
So I don't think there's an easy way, because I think based on your personality, it depends on how you keep records. Okay, so listen, the difference between record keeping and bookkeeping is your records have everything. Everything in your record keeping isn't taxable, but you need to know what you have. Construction companies will buy 25 hammers because they couldn't find one. So if they had just done their inventory, they would have known they had 25, and they wouldn't have had to go out and buy a 26 one. So now it's part of your assets, but if you're not keeping records, a lot of times you don't know what you have. Now, by law, bookkeeping is something different, because when you have mileage, you might want to do, we have so much technology now. You want to do something like Mile IQ, put that on your phone so that whenever that's just one. There's plenty of them out there. Some are less expensive and some are more. Or if you're a writer, if you're detail oriented, you're going to write everything down. Real estate people, people who are driving for different things, you want a mileage log, because it is a requirement now that I be able to prove what I'm saying. That means you have to send me some records so that we can prove what you're saying. So that kind of thing. There's, the little coupon holders, keep one in your car so you can throw those receipts in there and not try to put it in your wallet, put it in your pocket when it comes to your business. Now, please stop going to Target and Walmart and buying oil for the car with baby food. We can't do that. We can't accept it at all. It's like, well, I have a telephone, it's 100% for business. Okay, can you prove it's 100% for business? Is it in the business name? Because if it's not, the IRS, and I've been to enough audits for them to go, well, we don't know who's personal and who's not. It's like the mileage. They said, did you stop to eat? Did you go to the restroom? So they will only take 80% of what you send them. So there's little things, nuances you just need to know, which is why record keeping and bookkeeping is so important. So I don't know that there's an easy way. I just know you have to do it. And if you're not willing to do it, because here's the other thing, can I just give you my bank information? Well, how about if you take cash and then you needed the cash to go buy a supply? It never goes to the bank. So now how am I supposed to know about that income and expense? That's why you have to keep cash, credit cards, your bank statement just gives us a look at what you put in and what you took out. Hopefully you will use your bank, your business debit card for business. Please don't commingle money, because commingling is the thing that puts you in prison. And orange is not my color.
Right. Share a little bit about what commingling is so people really get a true understanding of that.
So commingling, okay, so the bank has rules now. Way back in the day, you used to be able to take money from your personal account and
Mhm.
then put it in your business account. Or I'm sorry, take money from your business account and put it into your personal account. So they don't want you doing that. So withdraw the money and put in cash because they'll connect the dots. But commingling money also means I put my money in my business account and I spent it on personal things. Like
That's enough.
I've seen people put money in and then buy a coat. Well, what does the coat have to do with this? So that commingling of funds is just the kind of thing that will go, let me see this, and then, well, what's the coat for? And then they have such anal people that they have no peripheral vision, so they're not giving you any breaks or anything. So it's imperative that you don't do that. You can write a check to, well, this is why we tell you get a payroll company, because if you have a payroll company, you can pay yourself from your own company. Then you don't have to worry about writing a check to yourself and trying to put it in your account, because there's a paper trail for everything when you do that. And in an audit, because remember, the banks have audits too. They have their rules, and they may or may not, depending on if you're a bank or a credit union, their rules will allow you to do some things and they'll allow you not to do some things. So
We're going to wrap it up, but what I heard you tonight is that whatever time the person viewing the show, have your paperwork, keep your receipts, and if you got them in the car, get a little coupon holder, get an envelope, put them all in that receipt, date them. You can date them by the month, but just have all your receipts there. If you need some information, you can always go to Professor O'Day. She's going to leave her information, but she said also irs.com. So you can go there. So when you call her, you can have the information. Well, I saw this on there, and you share a little bit more about it with me. Okay. And then also, very important, do not mix funds, people. Do not. If you got a business, use the money for the business. You got a person, use the money for the person. And Professor O'Day, we appreciate you. Can you give a little glimpse of what you're going to be sharing with us next month so the viewing audience will know?
well, I would like for people to understand about planning before they launch their business. Don't just run out and say, oh, I'm gonna start a business, let me get an LLC. There's some things you need to do in advance before you start your business. So that's an important one. And it doesn't matter if you've already started your business or not. What you want to do is know that you need to be compliant and know what you need to have responsibility for. So we're going to talk about before the launch or in the launch, and then it's all in the details. That's what I'm going to say. We're going to talk about the details of what you need to do for your business.
Well, Professor O'Day, we truly appreciate you. And from Professor O'Day from Temple University, but also representing her company, AOK Business Search. Share a little bit what AOK means so the viewing audience will know.
Alletta is okay.
Yes, she is okay. I verify that. Professor O'Day, we appreciate you. We look forward to seeing you next week. Be blessed. Take care of yourself, and thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate all of you, and have a wonderful and safe day.
You as well. You as well. When we come back, we're going to be joined with two ladies. They're going to be sharing a powerful program that they started. And one of them is called PPP, Please Don't Black Men. And they're also going to be doing a fashion show upcoming February. You know, I'm working mines right now for February Black History Month. So stay tuned. We'll have a commercial, then we're going to come back. My goodness.
Yes.
Welcome to another edition of Straight Talk. We're joined with two ladies that are truly, truly reflecting that song. They're marching on. We are joined with Marcell, Leonard, and Ruby Lewis, and they have two powerful programs going on. One is called Unlimited Creative Corporation, and the other one is powerful too. It's called PPDDBM, Please Don't Black Men. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Marcell Lewis and Ruby Lewis. I'm sorry, Marcella Leonard and Ruby Lewis. Please welcome. How you ladies doing?
We're good.
Oh, hey, yes. I was saying they marching on. They might have to go take care of some marches right now. But welcome, ladies. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Share a little bit about each one of you, Marcella Leonard and Ruby Lewis, a little bit about how you started this program, Unlimited Creative Corporation, and also PPDDBM, Please Don't Black Men, and also that you're going to be doing a fashion show. So we want to talk a little bit about that. Go ahead and share a little bit about who you are so our viewers and audience will know. We'll go to Ruby, she could share a little bit, and then we'll talk a little bit about each of the programs that you started. Again, welcome.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ruby.
There you go. It's all good.
I know, right?
It's all good.
All right, so
Okay.
PDDBM, which is Please Don't Die Black Men, is a movement that I started way back in 2007. It's a movement that uplifts and inspire African Americans of all ages. Please Don't Die Black Men, it started underneath Unlimited Creative Corporations. And I originally started Unlimited Creative Corporations because I wanted to create a business where I can do all facets of multimedia. And so out of that came Please Don't Die Black Men.
Right now, I mean, all of our hearts is moved, you know, what we have just witnessed. But to hear that title of that show, and when you started that program, thank you. Thank you for starting that program and pouring it back into the community, because please don't die, Black men. And wow, okay.
Yeah, I saw a
Miss-
need
Miss,
for
Miss-
I saw a need for African American males originally. It's for all African Americans now, but originally it started specifically for African American males. There wasn't any kind of, I mean, BET was okay, but it wasn't uplifting and inspiring in all facets. And then there wasn't many programs that I saw at the time that were uplifting and inspiring. So that's why.
Thank you so much. Really, thank you so much. And Ms. Leonard, would you like to share a little bit about the Creative Corporation, Unlimited Creative Corporation? You are the marketing manager, correct?
Yes, I am the marketing manager for Unlimited Creative Corporations. Ruby Lewis is phenomenal. She's very creative. She has brilliant ideas. The multimedia company is just splendid. The web designs, the creative designs that she does. She is a cinematographer. She does, she's an author. She's published 3 books already. She's a poet. She's made her own board game, a microaggression board game. I mean, just absolutely phenomenal. So as I was introduced to her, I decided that her creativeness and her division of Please Don't Die Black Men should take a whole new different avenue. So that's how I decided, hey, with all the designs that you have and the creativeness that you have, let's do a fashion show. And that's how I was inspired to work with Ruby Lewis.
Let's share. Well, before we go, Ruby, go ahead and plug a couple of your books. I don't mind you plugging them right now so the viewing artists can tune in and get that information. A couple of your books. Share a little bit.
Okay, so one of my books is called Caged and Locked. It's a book I created for it's a book I created. It's about circumstantial depression. It's the only book created worldwide available about circumstantial depression. And it's available wherever books are sold. It's called Caged and Locked, My Personal Experience with Circumstantial Depression. And then the other thing that I did was the microaggression board game. And that one is a board game that teaches people about microaggressions and systemic racism. and it can be found on my website at officialuccp.com. That's official umbrella cat papa.com. So, and all my book can be found on my website as well. So
Now you mentioned about it's the only type of book that's ever been.
yes, Caged and Locked. Nobody else has ever published a book about circumstantial depression before. So it's the only book worldwide. Yeah. So
And that book is phenomenal. It is a tearjerker. It is a educational experience. It is very innovative and creative. She has a brilliant mind, and everyone with the pandemic and everything, please, if you have not gotten this book, please get that book.
Absolutely. And touch on a little bit on the second book too, because I really want the viewers to tune in with you, purchase that book and support that and get that information because it.
So the second one isn't a book, it's a board game. It's a board game that you play.
Okay.
Yeah, and it teaches people about microaggressions and systemic racism. It's the only board game that has ever had a compass for a board. And it's available for print on demand, and it can be purchased on my website, as well as my actual book. So yes, officialuccp.com.
But she does have another book. It's called Unlimited Creative. What's your first book? What is it called? I am so
Limited
sorry.
Creative Corporations. That can be purchased on my website as well.
Exactly. So she has 2 books and 1 board game. Just
Now
phenomenal.
that board game, microaggression, right?
Yes.
Share a little bit about our viewing audience. And we're gonna get into the fashion show, but you just hit me with this, and I really want to get this information to the people.
Right.
What is microaggression? And you commingle, I guess I could say commingle the word with racism as well.
Yeah, so microaggressions is any slight snubs. It's bias, but it's like subtle bias. So another word for it will be implicit bias or unconscious bias. And microaggressions are just subtle things. And there's 4 aspects of microaggressions. There's micro insults, micro assaults, micro invalidations, and environmental microaggressions. And so, and it's really important that people understand that microaggressions can literally kill somebody, emotionally, physically, that kind of thing. But microaggressions are everyday unconscious bias.
Miss Ruby, can you repeat those again? It was 4 of them.
Yes.
Y'all need to take some notes too, like me. Go ahead.
And just Ruby, when you, if you could please, you're using some big words that most people probably don't understand. If you could just give one small example of just the unconscious bias and that, or just one example, like or why are you touching my hair? Or, all Asian people are good at math, something like that. If you could, please.
I like that. So could we go? Yeah, there was 4 of them. So could we go to number 1? Give us a little example. Number 2, I like that. Yes.
Okay. So microaggressions. So the first one is micro assaults. And so micro assault is a microaggression that is so it's like when it's an explicit or derogatory verbal or nonverbal attack. So it's like when you think of assaulting somebody, then it's like, yeah, it's like that. So that's the first type of microaggression, which is micro assault. And so some of that, so an example of that would be, where are you from? Or where were you born?
Can you spell that? Can you spell that for our people?
Micro assault?
Yes, please, for our viewing audience. Yes.
So it's MICRO.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
MICROASSAULT.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, micro assault. So, and then some examples of micro assaults would be, so where are you born? Where, and you say, oh, okay, I'm from America, or I'm from California. They're like, no, where are you really from? So that's an example of micro assault. Another one would be like, if you always refer, oh, hey, hey guys, or something like that. That's like a heterosexist language, like only using the he pronoun in like a group of mixed genders. Another example of a micro assault would be when a female asks a professor, if a female asks a professor for help on like maybe some engineering work or some astronaut work, and the professor goes, why do you need to do that anyway? They're assuming that females are not appropriate for that category or for that field. So that's some examples of micro assaults. So
Number two.
Number
Come
two
join
is
us.
micro insult. So that's MICROINSULT. So micro insults. So, and micro insults, they convey rudeness and insensitivity while also demeaning a person's heritage or identity. So that's micro insults. And so with micro insults, there are examples of micro insults such as, oh, you must be you're a real credit to your race. Like you really, you're a credit, so, or a person, or if I go into a group of Spanish people, I'm like, can you teach me how to speak Spanish or whatever? It's not their job to teach you their native language. So you assuming that that's what you need to do. They need to do is teach you their language. Or the big one that I hear around the Pacific Northwest is, when I look at you, I don't see race, or when I look at you, I don't see color. And the reason why that's such a micro insult is because if you can't see my color, then you can't see the struggles that I go through, and you can't also fight against unconscious bias. So
Number three.
So number three is micro invalidation. And so micro invalidations are any kind of communications that kind of exclude, negate, or nullify the psychological thoughts or feelings that a person goes through, or the experiential reality of that person. So, and examples of micro invalidations would be like, I'm not racist, I have Black friends. Or, are you sure that you were really followed in the store? I can't believe it. I don't think that that's true. Or, of course you'll get tenure. He's Black, like that kind of thing. And so those are some examples of micro invalidations. And I also teach a microaggression training class as well. So people can look that up on my website as well. And then the last type of microaggression is called environmental microaggression. And so those are usually microaggressions that occur in like the physical or social context. For instance, a college or university that has buildings that are all named after white heterosexual males or upper class males, or television shows or movies that only feature one type of race, like predominantly white people, and there's not a single African American or person of color or Spanish or anybody else on there, or overabundance of liquor stores or fast food restaurants in Black neighborhoods. Those are microaggressions. Overcrowding of public schools and in communities of color. Those are all examples of environmental microaggressions.
Wow, we appreciate it, and we certainly would like to, in the near future, maybe have you come back and just, do a little segment for the people and just kind of get them to be informed on,
Right.
on what you do. Okay, let's go to this fashion show. And how did this happen? And I mean, it's going to be representing the clothing fashion. The clothing fashion is going to be representing the times and the feelings, emotions. Share a little bit about the fashion show, Miss Leonard.
So the fashion show, Ruby was so creative in her thoughts and everything. And Please Don't Die Black Men, I love that division. I fell in love with that division once she told me about Please Don't Die Black Men. And I asked her, can I please have that division? I love Black men. I love Black people. And when she said, hey, this is Please Don't Die Black Men, I was like, oh, this is so neat. So what I decided to do is ask her, when I asked her what was Please Don't Die Black Men for, she said, it's uplifting and inspiring. I said, ooh, you know what? They have never, for Black History Month in the Pacific Northwest here in Vancouver, Portland, ever since we've been here, it seems like Black History Month just poofs. It just comes and it just goes. I don't see anybody doing anything with it. So I asked her, I said, could I please do a fashion show? And she's like, okay. So it's a bit more than I anticipated because this is our first show. I was overzealous in doing it, but I am very excited about doing it. We have 4 designers. We have 15 women, actually it's 13 women, 2 kids. We have 3 small boys and 10 men. So for a matter 13 men. We have our venue at the Lord's Gym, which is 2410 Grand Boulevard in Vancouver, Washington. People say, well, how come you're not doing it in Portland? Because we don't live in Portland. We live in Vancouver. And I felt it necessary to do the event in Vancouver. Plus, Vancouver's never had anything for Black History Month. We are the originators for the Juneteenth celebration here in Vancouver. The NAACP has kind of slid in and started doing that, but we are the originators that originally started in the Juneteenth celebration. So we're excited about that. But the fashion show is going to be February the 11th. We have the vendor appreciation from 10 a.m. until 12 p.m. The show promptly starts at 12 p.m. until 2 p.m. and then we eat from 2 p.m. until 3 p.m. There are no door sales and you have to get your tickets at PPDDBM fashionshow.eventbrite.com. If we could, we're looking for someone to sing the Black National Anthem. I have no idea who that lady was, but if you could please get her to come, oh my God, or somebody, we have been trying. We've been marketing for about 6 months now. And in my opinion, we really have not had the turnout that we anticipated. I don't know why. We've had a lot of the Africans from Africa. They've been, we have a lot of them. The Black Americans, we're not so much, and the white people not so much. So we've sold under 50 tickets for a total of 6 months. And I don't know why, but if we could, it's only $20 for general seating. It's only $40 for VIP, and that includes food. So it is going to be amazing. This is our first year, and we really would like people just to come on out, do something for Black History Month. So that's how this all got started.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're Straight Talk is honored that you're here sharing this with us, and we'll do whatever we possibly can to get that information out to the people because it's powerful, and it's I can tell it's just going to be beautiful. So we're gonna see what we can do. We're gonna see if we can get in contact with the young lady that sings the Black National Anthem, and we'll just see where it works and how it works. And Miss Ruby, we're gonna look forward to getting a session with you, because what you were sharing with us, people need that. And if we can start getting a little session where people get that information and we can give, please, lady, give us the information about the fashion show again, as the time is running up, and how to get your tickets and what time it starts. And then Miss Ruby, we're gonna have you drop those books information again. Miss Leonard, please.
Okay, it's going to be at the Lord's Gym, 2410 Grand Boulevard, Vancouver, on February the 11th. Doors open up from 10 to 12 for vendor appreciation. The show starts promptly at 12 and is going to run until 2. And then from 2 to 3, we eat. You have to get your tickets at PPDDBM Fashion Show Eventbrite.com. They're only $20 for general seating. It's only $40 for VIP. So, and that's very inexpensive. So we really want you all to come out. We need some more vendors and we would like some more people. So February the 11th, 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. And so PPDDBM Fashion Show .eventbrite.com.
Is there a contact number too? So a person can call if they want more information?
Yes, that's going to be 360-991-2405.
Beautiful, beautiful. Go ahead and repeat that one more time for people just didn't catch all the numbers.
Okay, so again, the number is 360-991-2405, or please get your tickets at PPDDBM Fashion Show .eventbrite.com.
Absolutely. Miss Lewis, please, as they said, go ahead and drop that little book knowledge on us again, them titles. And the board, yes.
Right. So
Yeah.
so both books can be found on my website at officialuccp.com. That's official umbrellacatcatpapa.com. And the first one is Caged and Locked, My Personal Experience with Circumstantial Depression. It's available worldwide, wherever books are sold. And then the second book, Unlimited Creative Corporations, can also be found on my website, as well as the Microaggression board game. It's a microaggression board game, and that can be found on my website only. Again, that website is officialuccp.com.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And you have to play that board game. OMG, you have never experienced a microaggression board game. It is phenomenal. It's just a tearjerker. But and then again, it's a mind-boggling educational experience at the same time. She's just a fabulous person. Very, very, very creative.
Oh, very
Yeah,
knowledgeable.
Mr. Brown, where your copy at?
Hey, I'm going to say, well, I'm going to get me a copy of this book. Yeah, and I'd like to look at getting one of them games for some of these children. We're going to figure that out. We might have some of them come on the show and play the game. We're going to put something together.
I know, that's right.
But they can actually see some children or somebody playing the game as well on the show.
Right,
So
exactly.
we're going to do that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard from the marketing manager, Miss Marcell, Leonard. And you also heard from the CEO, Ms. Ruby Lewis. She already dropped the knowledge about her books. They're from the Unlimited Creative Corporation. And they also have a powerful company called PPDDBM. Please don't die, Black men. We thank you very much. Have a blessed day. And look forward to Straight Talk doing whatever we can. Remember, Straight Talk is the show that cares about you, where the information comes from you, the people, to the people. Be blessed. Tell somebody you love them. Have an awesome day. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Engineer, play us on out.